This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Thursday, July 24th, 2025. I'm Alex Brown. Youth sports tournaments brought thousands of athletes, families, and spectators to South Bend and Mishawaka last weekend, generating an estimated $2 million in economic impact for St. Joseph County. Visit South Bend Mishawaka Executive Director Jeff Jarnicki says youth sports is a big driver for the county.
Last year, for example, youth sports across more than 80 events generated more than $27 million of economic impact. So, $2 million in one given weekend is a really strong figure for us. These events are all recurring events for us. Generally, we're seeing increases in terms of number of teams. So you compile all of those on top of each other on one particular weekend in July. It makes South Bend and Mishawaka a very, very busy place.
Jarnicki said sports like baseball, softball, hockey, and even baton twirling contribute thousands of hotel room nights annually. The U.S. Department of Agriculture plans to consolidate its current regional structure and relocate a portion of its workforce to 5 hubs, including one in Indianapolis. The agency plans to move a majority of its remaining Washington, D.C.-based employees to regions more closely aligned with its target populations, though it's not clear how many employees would move to Indy. Huntingburg-based agriculture cooperative Superior Ag broke ground this week on its $20 million dry fertilizer distribution facility at the former Summit River Terminal along the Ohio River in Rockport. The facility is slated for completion in late 2026 and could ultimately employ up to 20 workers. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
To succeed, you need to stay informed. You need to be engaged. And let's face it, you need to set yourself apart from the rest by connecting with a company that brings you the best. Because in today's environment, business is an ever-moving target, and we'll help you chase it. IBJ Media. The best of business is in us. Get started at ibjmedia.com/youngprofessional.
Fewer than 52% of Indiana high school graduates from the class of 2023 went directly to college. That's according to the latest data from the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. IIB's Mark Mazurek has more.
For that class, data showed that just 51.7% of graduates, about 39,000 students, enrolled in college within a year of finishing high school. That's down from a steady 53% between 2020 and 2022, and far below the state's peak of 65% a decade ago. Around 36% of all graduating seniors enrolled in one of Indiana's public 4-year institutions, followed by 8% who chose a private college or university in Indiana. Another 7.5% went to school outside of Indiana, according to the data. The figures were quietly posted to the agency's website earlier this month and reflect concerns state leaders have long expressed about Indiana's declining college-going culture, especially as the state shifts focus toward career credentials and work-based learning. The 2023 numbers come just 6 months after the Higher Education Commission approved sweeping changes to Indiana's high school diploma set to take effect statewide in 2029 that emphasize work-based learning and career readiness over traditional college preparation. Under those new requirements, high schoolers will be required to earn at least one diploma seal to graduate, including options for employment or post-secondary readiness. While some seal options are specifically geared toward college-bound students, graduates will no longer have to meet all the criteria typically expected for college admission. I'm Mark Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indianapolis-based racing team Arrow McLaren announced today that it has closed on the purchase of a new headquarters building on the northwest side of Indianapolis, with plans to move into the property early next year. Arrow McLaren, a U.S. subsidiary of England-based McLaren Racing, spent more than $10 million to buy the former Andretti Global headquarters in a deal that closed last week. The company plans to renovate the structure and expand its footprint to 86,000 square feet, nearly tripling the size of its current facility. The work is already underway, and the team, which employs just over 80 people, plans to move into the new facility in January in time for the 2026 IndyCar season. A public rezoning meeting for a data center in Frankfort was canceled this week as developers pivot and will now pursue the possible $10 billion project as part of Clinton County. Property development company Logistics Realty tells Inside Indiana Business the project is still moving forward with no major changes other than which municipality the land falls in. President Douglas Swain says the move will simplify the process.
The difference is that you don't have to go through an annexation because we'll just do it in the county. So we felt that that was a a better path for the project. So the project is still the same. We'll just keep it in the county.
Logistics has around 600 acres of land under option on the northwest outskirts of Frankfort and was trying to get that area annexed into the city. Community Health Network CEO Brian Mills is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.